A black Mack truck with a mohawk-wearing duck on its hood made movie history in 1978. But here's what nobody tells you. They didn't use one truck. They didn't even use two. 4 different Macks played Rubber Duck's ride, and only one survived. The truth behind that silver duck mascot? It almost ruined the entire film. What you're about to discover will change how you see this legendary truck forever. Number 22, 4 trucks, 1 legend. The Rubber Duck didn't drive just one truck in Convoy. Production used 4 different Mack tractors to pull off the film. Truck number 1 was a brand new 1977 RS700L equipped with a 315 horsepower tip turbine Mack motor. This was the main hero truck used for most promotional photos and close-up shots. Truck number 2 was actually a 1970 model with a Cummins 8 5.5 engine putting out 335 horsepower. This second truck served as the on-camera double for driving scenes. The other 2 trucks were mock-ups used specifically for stunt work and in-cab shots where the exterior didn't matter. During the intense filming process, 3 of these 4 Macks were completely destroyed through explosions, crashes, and brutal action sequences that left them as scrap metal. Only one survived all the chaos. The 1972nd unit truck is the one you can visit today at the National Museum of Transportation in St. Louis, Missouri, where it sits proudly with the original 5,800-gallon Trailmobile tank trailer that also survived the production. Number 21, the engine sound, was fake. The truck you hear roaring in the movie isn't actually a Mack at all. Director Sam Peckinpah believed the sound of a Detroit diesel made a tougher, more aggressive impression on film than the real Mack engine sound. So the sound recording team spent 2 full days capturing audio from a Kenworth K-Series tow truck that made brief appearances in the movie. They recorded that 8V71T Detroit diesel and carefully dubbed it over all the Mack footage during post-production. The real Mack trucks had either the tip turbine engine or the Cummins power plant, but moviegoers never actually heard their authentic sounds. Every single time you watch Rubber Duck hammer down and shift gears, you're actually hearing a completely different truck. This sound substitution was a common Hollywood trick used in many vehicle movies, but it fooled millions of truckers who swore they could recognize that distinctive Detroit scream coming from the speakers. The deception was so good that most viewers never questioned it. If you're enjoying these facts, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss more trucking history. Number 20, the duck nearly destroyed the film. That angry duck hood ornament with its rebellious mohawk wasn't anywhere close to the original design concept. The duck started its life as a shiny, polished chrome piece that looked beautiful in the California sun. But when cameras started rolling on the first day of production, the film crew discovered a massive technical problem that threatened to derail everything. The sun's bright rays bouncing off the reflective chrome duck created intense glare and reflections that completely interfered with filming. The lighting department couldn't control it. Camera operators struggled to get usable footage. Every shot featuring the truck became a nightmare of lens flares and washed out images. Production had to stop immediately and figure out a solution fast before they wasted more time and money. The crew took the duck off the hood, sanded down the entire chrome finish until it was matte, and painted it a flat silver gray color. Then someone on set had the brilliant idea to add the mohawk hairdo to give the duck more attitude and character. This desperate quick fix turned into one of the most recognizable and beloved hood ornaments in movie history. That duck was later used by director Quentin Tarantino in his film Death Proof. Number 19, a 220-inch wheelbase beast. The main Rubber Duck truck rolled confidently on a massive 220-inch wheelbase. That's more than 18 feet measured from the front axle centerline all the way back to the rear axle. This exceptionally long wheelbase gave the truck excellent stability when hauling the heavy tanker trailer, especially at highway speeds across desert roads. But it also made the Mack handle like a city bus when navigating tight corners or backing into loading docks. The truck wore a spacious 60-inch stand-up sleeper mounted directly behind the cab, giving long-haul drivers proper room to rest, sleep, and even stand up during those mandatory rest breaks. For 1977 standards, this was considered serious comfort and luxury in the trucking world. The sleeper had enough interior space to stand upright and move around comfortably, which was genuinely rare for trucks of that era when most sleepers were cramped coffin-sized boxes. Combined with that long, stable wheelbase, this complete setup made the RS700L absolutely perfect for extended cross-country runs spanning thousands of miles. That's exactly what Rubber Duck needed for his fictional convoy journey across the American Southwest. Number 18, built for Western roads. The RS700L was part of Mack's specialized Western series specifically engineered and designed for the wide-open highways of the American West. Mack deliberately built these trucks significantly lighter than their Pennsylvania-made Eastern models by extensively using aluminum components throughout the entire chassis and body. The radiator mounts, cab mounting brackets, spring hangers, air reservoir tanks, dual fuel tanks, both front and rear wheels, and even the rear differential chunks were all constructed from lightweight aluminum alloys. This aggressive weight reduction dropped the truck's total curb weight down to around 15,500 pounds, making it much lighter than comparable Eastern models that used heavier steel components. Western truckers desperately needed this reduced weight because it allowed them to maximize their legal payload capacity on those long hauls across vast desert highways. The RS700L could confidently handle the extreme heat and incredible distances of grueling routes through Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, and California. These are exactly the same states and highways where Convoy was filmed during that hot summer of 1977. Drop a comment below telling us which fact surprised you the most so far. Number 17. The Fuller Roadmaster transmission. Behind that powerful Mack engine sat a heavy-duty 10-speed Fuller Roadmaster transmission. This wasn't your normal everyday shifter setup that regular car drivers would recognize. The Fuller system used a main transmission section with 5 forward gears and an auxiliary range selector that effectively doubled those 5 gears into 10 distinct forward speeds. Drivers had to master the pneumatic air-shifted range selector to smoothly move between low range and high range without grinding gears. The entire transmission assembly weighed in at several hundred pounds and was specifically built to handle the massive torque output from both diesel engines used during filming. Getting perfectly smooth shifts required serious skill, precise timing, and lots of experience behind the wheel. Miss the shift timing and you'd grind gears loud enough to wake up everyone within a mile radius. The 10-speed configuration gave experienced drivers tremendous flexibility for everything from crawling up steep mountain grades in low range to running comfortable highway speeds across flat desert roads in high range. This versatility made it perfect for the diverse terrain shown throughout Convoy. Number 16. The Tip Turbine Engine. The main hero truck packed a Mack Tip Turbine turbocharged inline 6-cylinder diesel engine under that forward-tilting fiberglass hood. This beast of an engine produced 315 horsepower, which was considered serious, impressive power for any truck in 1977. But here's exactly what made this engine special and different from competitors. The Tip turbine design utilized advanced turbine technology that was genuinely cutting edge for its time period. The turbocharger system helped the engine generate maximum power at much lower RPMs compared to naturally aspirated engines. This saved substantial fuel costs on those long transcontinental hauls. Mack engines had earned their legendary reputation for incredible low-end torque, meaning they could pull extremely heavy loads without needing to rev high and scream. The Tip turbine gave the RS700L the serious grunt and pulling power needed to haul a fully loaded tanker trailer up steep mountain passes without breaking a sweat. Professional truckers absolutely loved Mack engines because they were virtually indestructible and could reliably run for hundreds of thousands of miles with nothing more than proper regular maintenance and oil changes. Number 15. The movie destroyed a $12 million budget. Convoy started pre-production with a modest, reasonable budget of around $6 million. It ended up costing a staggering $12 million, which was more than double the original financial plan. Director Sam Peckinpah shot over 800,000 feet of raw film trying desperately to capture his artistic vision correctly. For proper comparison, his previous famous movie The Wild Bunch only used 300,000 feet of film. Peckinpah's well-documented substance problems and increasingly erratic on-set behavior caused production to shut down temporarily multiple times. He fired crew members and assistants regularly throughout filming, though he actually fired fewer people than on his previous troubled productions. The movie ultimately finished 11 days behind the planned schedule. Despite all this backstage chaos, creative turmoil, and budget-busting problems, Convoy shockingly became the highest-grossing film of Peckinpah's entire career. The movie pulled in an impressive $45 million at the domestic box office. Number 14, The Bridge Was Doomed Anyway. That spectacular explosive bridge scene where Rubber Duck's truck gets violently blown apart was filmed on a temporary wooden bridge in Needles, California. The bridge structure connected Needles to Topeka, Arizona, crossing the wide Colorado River. It wasn't the main highway bridge that most viewers naturally assume when watching. This was actually a narrow one-way temporary bridge built by the Bureau of Reclamation before the permanent modern bridge was completed. The Needle City Fire Department provided crucial fire protection and safety coverage during filming because the massive explosions were completely real and extremely dangerous. Right after Convoy wrapped its final scenes, the temporary bridge was torn down and demolished to make way for the new permanent span. So that legendary, unforgettable bridge scene was filmed on a structure that was scheduled to be demolished anyway within weeks. The production timing worked out absolutely perfectly for everyone involved. The filmmakers got their explosive climax without destroying important infrastructure. The bridge was coming down regardless of the movie. Number 13, the truck broke down during the final scene. During the climactic, action-packed bridge explosion scene, RBRDUCK's trusty Mack experienced one final ironic breakdown. The specific truck that was supposed to drive across the bridge before getting dramatically shot up had been so severely damaged during the months of brutal filming that it completely broke down right before the cameras were set to roll. The entire crew had to think fast and improvise a solution immediately. They brought in a heavy-duty bulldozer and literally pushed the dead Mack across the bridge to get it into the correct position for the upcoming explosion sequence. All that desperate pushing happened just barely off camera where viewers wouldn't see it. When you watch the finished scene today, you're actually seeing a truck that literally couldn't move even 1 inch under its own power anymore. The Mack had taken such an incredible beating throughout the entire production that it was barely functioning as anything more than a rolling prop. This particular truck had given absolutely everything it had for the movie. It was a fitting end for a warrior that had survived months of punishment. Number 12. Peckinpah was missing for 12 hours. On the specific day, they were scheduled to film the emotional funeral scene with 3,000 paid extras assembled and waiting at the New Mexico State Fairgrounds. Director Sam Peckinpah locked himself inside his trailer for 12 straight hours. He refused to talk to anyone outside. The frustrated cast, exhausted crew, and thousands of expensive extras waited impatiently while Peckinpah stayed completely hidden from view. Actor James Coburn and the experienced assistant directors essentially finished directing major portions of the movie themselves when situations like this occurred. Coburn had been officially brought in as second unit director partly to earn his Directors Guild card and professional credentials, but everyone knew the real reason. He was there to handle important scenes when Peckinpah couldn't function properly due to his addictions. This kind of behavior wasn't unusual or shocking on Convoy's troubled set. Peckinpah's severe drug and alcohol problems meant Coburn quietly directed significantly more of the finished movie than most people realize or the credits acknowledge. It was an open secret among the cast and crew. Number 11, the original cut was 3.5 hours. Peckinpah's original rough director's cut of Convoy ran approximately 220 minutes, which translates to 3 hours and 40 minutes of footage. He and his longtime trusted editor, Garth Craven, painstakingly assembled this massive, sprawling cut in early 1978. The nervous studio executives watched it in a private screening and immediately knew it absolutely couldn't be released at that excessive length. EMI executive Michael Dealey made the tough decision to fire Peckinpah from his own movie in mid-March 1978. He promoted editor Graham Clifford to supervising editor with orders to drastically cut it down for theatrical release. They aggressively slashed the runtime to 110 minutes, brutally removing well over 2 hours of footage that Peckinpah had carefully crafted. Peckinpah's original cut had minimal musical score, except for the title song and one other track. The final theatrical version ended up drastically different from what Peckinpah originally intended and envisioned. Nobody outside that screening room has seen that original 3.5 hour cut since those early private viewings. The footage may be lost forever. Number 10. It became a hit in the Soviet Union. Convoy became surprisingly and unexpectedly popular in the Soviet Union when it was eventually released there through official channels. Soviet audiences interpreted the film as powerfully showing a working-class rebellion against a corrupt, abusive government system. The striking image of independent truckers bravely standing up to abusive law enforcement and military forces resonated deeply with people living under an authoritarian communist system. The movie's strong anti-authority message successfully translated across vastly different cultures and political systems. Soviet viewers strongly connected with RBRDUCK's justified fight against the villainous Dirty Lyle Wallace and the overwhelming government forces trying desperately to stop the peaceful convoy. Number 9. The tanker trailer has battle scars. The 1960s Trailmobile tank trailer that miraculously survived the brutal production still carries visible evidence of the movie's violence today. If you visit and look closely at the trailer currently on display at the National Museum of Transportation, you can actually find the exact spots where explosive charges were strategically set during filming. In the dramatic bridge scene where state troopers and National Guard troops shoot at the back of Rubber Duck's truck, the special effects team set off 2 powerful explosive charges mounted on the trailer. The blast holes and resulting damage are still clearly visible today for visitors to examine. The trailer was never actually meant to haul real liquids during regular trucking operations. If you crouch down and look carefully underneath, you'll immediately see it's not a functioning tank at all. It was specifically a hollow prop trailer that had been specially modified for the movie's dangerous stunts and pyrotechnic explosions. The trailer is basically a rolling piece of cinema history. Number 8, the hero truck became a dump truck. After filming finally wrapped in late 1977, the main 1977 RS700L LST hero truck used for important promotional photos and press materials was carefully sent back to Mack Trucks headquarters for a complete professional restoration. Mack's skilled mechanics brought it meticulously back to pristine showroom condition, fixing all the extensive damage accumulated from production. But then something strange and unfortunate happened to this piece of history. The beautifully restored truck was eventually sold off to a contractor and permanently converted into a regular dump truck. This legendary piece of cinema history spent many years hauling ordinary dirt and construction debris in complete obscurity. Number 7, filmed almost entirely in New Mexico. Despite the movie's plot involving dramatic chases through Arizona, Texas, and Mexico, Convoy was actually shot almost entirely within New Mexico's borders. Major filming locations included Albuquerque, Cerrillos, Cuba, Estancia, Las Vegas, Madrid, Belen, and Bernalillo. The stunning opening scene was filmed at White Sands National Monument near Alamogordo. The exciting jailbreak scene was shot in the small town of Estancia. The New Mexico State Fairgrounds in Albuquerque hosted the elaborate funeral scene with 3,000 extras filling the frame. Only the bridge explosion was filmed outside New Mexico in Needles, California on the Arizona border. The production strategically chose New Mexico for its incredibly diverse desert landscapes, available highways with minimal traffic, and significantly cheaper filming costs compared to California. The state's empty roads and authentic small towns provided absolutely perfect backdrops for the convoy's journey across the Southwest. Number 6. The license plate says it all. Rubber Duck's iconic truck wore a custom vanity license plate that clearly read RBRDUCK, which is a shortened creative version of Rubber Duck. This memorable plate became iconic among fans and is still part of the truck, proudly on display at the National Museum of Transportation. The plate was a perfect finishing touch that helped viewers immediately identify the hero truck in wide establishing shots filled with dozens of other big rigs. In the late 1970s, custom vanity plates were becoming increasingly popular across America, and giving Rubber Duck this personalized plate added authentic realism to his character. Independent truckers often extensively customized their rigs with personal touches, special paint, and unique accessories. That distinctive plate fit perfectly with Rubber Duck's rebellious, individualistic personality. Today, you can easily buy replica plates online for your own vehicle or garage wall. The plate has become a symbol of trucker independence. It represents the spirit of the convoy movement. Number 5. The movie damaged Peckinpah's reputation. Although Convoy became Sam Peckinpah's biggest commercial success and financial hit, it severely and permanently damaged his professional reputation throughout Hollywood. Widespread rumors of his increasingly destructive drug and cocaine abuse spread rapidly throughout the entire industry. Major studios that might have previously hired him became extremely hesitant or outright refused to work with him again. His dangerous behavior on set made him practically uninsurable for major productions with substantial budgets. Peckinpah would only direct one more film after Convoy finished. That final film was The Osterman Weekend in 1983, and he died the following year in 1984 at age 59. What should have been a career-reviving blockbuster hit instead became definitive evidence of his artistic decline. Number 4. Japan loved it first. Convoy was first released theatrically in Japan in mid-June 1978, about 2 full weeks before its much-anticipated American premiere. The film earned an impressive $4 million in just 9 days in Japanese theaters. This unexpectedly strong performance gave nervous studio executives confidence for the upcoming North American release. When Convoy finally opened in 700 theaters across the United States and Canada on June 28, 1978, It was already proven overseas as a commercial winner. Japanese audiences were genuinely fascinated by American trucking culture and the mysterious CB radio phenomenon. The film's themes of rebellion, freedom, and standing up to authority resonated incredibly strongly with Japanese viewers. The success in Japan also clearly showed that Convoy's appeal went far beyond just American truck drivers. The movie successfully tapped into something universal about fighting back against corruption and unjust authority. Number 3, made from the original molds. The Angry Duck hood ornament became so popular with truckers and fans that the original manufacturer, John Billings of Billings Artworks, still makes them today. They're cast from the exact same original molds used to create the duck for the 1977 movie production. You can buy an exact replica of Rubber Duck's hood ornament in chrome, black, gold, or custom colors. The duck measures approximately 8 inches long and 5 inches high, complete with the cigar. It mounts using a standard 2-stud system that requires some drilling for proper installation. These replicas are proudly made in the USA and have been shipped to enthusiastic truck fans worldwide. Number 2. The truck still appears at shows. The surviving 1970 Mack RS700L ST is owned by the Bruno family in Missouri and occasionally travels to truck shows around the country. When it's not on public display at the National Museum of Transportation, the truck is carefully housed at the family's farm in rural Missouri. The dedicated owners have kept it in remarkable museum-quality condition, maintaining both the truck and the original battle-scarred trailer. They've even seriously considered bringing the Rubber Duck to Albuquerque in 2027 to visit the original Convoy filming locations exactly 50 years after production. Number 1, a movie born from a song. The entire movie concept started because of C.W. McCall's 1975 novelty song Convoy, which hit number 1 on country charts and number 4 on the pop charts. EMI Films bought the adaptation rights to turn this song into a feature film. But here's the massive challenge they faced. The song was basically just CB radio chatter set to catchy music. It had no real plot, no developed characters beyond voice handles, and absolutely no structure for a feature film. Screenwriter B.W.L. Norton had to create an entire story from scratch using only the song's basic concept of truckers forming a convoy. The song created a phenomenon. The movie made it legendary.